Geopolitics took center stage as leaders from candidate countries framed their ambition to join the European Union at Euronews Enlargement Summit. A new UN climate report reveals current pledges are not enough to reach targets to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
The man who had been trapped under rubble after a medieval tower in Rome partially collapsed has died from his injuries.
Dick Cheney, one of the most powerful and polarizing vice presidents in U.S. history, has died at the age of 84. Geopolitics took center stage at Euronews Enlargement Summit in Brussels on Tuesday, with leaders from candidate countries framing their ambition to join the European Union.
I see enlargement as much more than just the enlargement. It is really the possibility for making our European Union stronger, as you have said. It is the possibility that we, if we do it right, do finally unification of Europe.
Ukraine has chosen to be the EU member through the similar feeling of life, freedom, democracy, humanity, respect to the human rights, just respect to a human, to his or her choice.
So with Montenegro, European Union is going to prove its very name, is going to prove its concept, is going to prove its values, and is going to prove its geopolitical status.
Moldova wants to continue to be a democratic country, wants to be part of the free world. And of course, because of the security threats that we have been experiencing, because of the hybrid war that we have been experiencing, especially since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We received first positive report for starting negotiations in 2009 together with Croatia. And unfortunately, we are in the same place where we were 25 years ago.
We'll take it in a very serious and responsible way, all the remarks, all the demands from EU partners, and considering it will change our attitudes and our stances on different issues and will improve our behavior in the future, and we hope that the European Union will notice it.
We have opened 5 of 6 clusters within only 11 months, which is an absolute record in terms of speed. It's something that until only a few years ago I would not been able to imagine. But this is why life is so beautiful.
Very much.
Despite mounting frustrations on both sides with the enlargement process, the leaders' main message was clear. Expanding the Union is no longer a matter of choice, but of necessity. As countries, non-profit organizations, academics, and more prepare to gather in Brazil for the annual climate summit COP30, a new UN report revealed the world is heading for a serious escalation of climate risks and damages. In its yearly emissions gap report, the UN Environment Programme indicates that under current pledges, the predicted global temperature rise over the course of this century has only slightly fallen. The report finds that only 60 parties to the Paris Agreement, covering 63% of greenhouse gas emissions, had submitted or announced new mitigation targets for 2035. Implementing only current policies would see global temperatures rise by 2.8 degrees Celsius, progress from last year's predicted 3.1 degrees, but not enough, the authors say. They add that countries now need to go all in on climate action. The European Union is one of the 6 largest contributors to total greenhouse gas emissions, the report said. The EU's current target is to reduce net greenhouse gas emissions by at least 66 to 72% from 1990 levels by 2035.
The man who had been trapped under rubble after a medieval tower in Rome collapsed has died from his injuries shortly after he had been rescued. Part of the medieval Torre dei Conti collapsed Monday morning during renovation work. 3 workers were rescued unharmed, another worker was hospitalized in critical condition, and the 5th worker, a 66-year-old Romanian man, had remained stuck under the rubble. The man was rescued on Monday night after being stuck for almost 12 hours. He was rushed to the hospital, but his heart stopped while he was in the ambulance.
Intervento eravamo quasi arrivati a portarlo fuori. Purtroppo questo secondo crollo ha portato molte macerie.
Firefighters were in the midst of the first rescue attempt when another part of the tower crumbled. The tower had been closed since 2007 and was undergoing an almost €7 million restoration. Rome's prosecutor's office has opened an investigation into the incident.
Belgium has raised concerns over what it called unidentified drone flights near a military base where U.S. nuclear weapons are stored. According to Defense Minister Theo Franken, the flights spotted during the weekend seemed to be part of a spying operation. The Belgian defense chief on Monday confirmed that drones had flown into the area near the Klein Bruegel Air Base in northeast Belgium in 2 phases on Saturday and Sunday night. The first phase involved small drones to test the radio frequencies of Belgian security services. Then later came big drones to destabilize the area and people, Franken told local media. Both NATO and the European Union have been on high alert following a string of airspace violations thought to be from Russia in recent weeks. In September, NATO issued a warning to Moscow saying it would use all means to defend against any further breaches of its airspace after the downing of Russian drones over Poland and Estonia's report of an intrusion by Russian fighter jets.
UK police have charged a 32-year-old British national with 10 counts of attempted murder on Monday after a stabbing incident on a London-bound train on Saturday. Anthony Williams has been named by police as the perpetrator of the attack, which injured 11 people, 9 of them critically. The train departed Doncaster on Saturday and was forced to make an emergency stop at Huntingdon just before 8 p.m. Victims say the incident was one of the most horrifying experiences of their lives.
Yes, that it was horrible when you know that the train's still going, that there's no police helping you in the train. Obviously there wouldn't be, but I was hoping that the train would just stop and we could just leave. I felt claustrophobic because everyone's pushing in and we're trapped in the small kitchen area. B, there's a guy with a knife stabbing everyone and you don't know if you're going to be next or not.
British Transport Police say only 1 victim remains in critical condition. 4 others are also still hospitalized, but are no longer being treated for life-threatening injuries. The suspect, Williams, was not immediately asked to enter into a plea and stands to face the courts in an official hearing on the 1st of December.
Doha is hosting the Second World Summit for Social Development, a global gathering of leaders, experts, and civil society. The summit is focusing on poverty, climate change, and how technology is reshaping jobs and social protection. This is the first time a UN meeting of this scale is being held outside New York or Geneva. Delegates will adopt the Doha Political Declaration on Social Development, calling for global action on social justice, inclusion, and sustainable development.
People escape poverty, they become migrants, they become socially exploited, abused. We see this in Europe as well. We see this, and we think that, and in Europe we think that it's our responsibility not just to fight poverty and social exclusion at home with the people that live in Europe, but we have a responsibility towards our neighboring regions, countries, continents, and towards the whole planet, I think.
High-level forums are pushing leaders to turn commitments into concrete results, while discussions are giving officials a chance to share ideas and practical solutions from around the world.
We know that half of the population still cannot enjoy any sort of social protection. This is extremely dangerous, and it's also extremely dangerous for peace, because this creates a huge instability in the world.
With the world gathering in Doha, there are high expectations for tangible outcomes. Youth groups, NGOs, and activists are demanding decisive action to fight poverty and inequality. More than 800 million people still live in extreme poverty, according to the UN, and officials say innovation will be key to turning commitments into solutions. Mohammed Alashi, Euronews, Doha.
Dick Cheney, one of the most powerful and polarizing vice presidents in U.S. history, has died at the age of 84. Cheney, a leading advocate for the invasion of Iraq, served as defense chief to President George H.W. Bush during the Persian Gulf War. He then returned as vice president under Bush's son, George W. Bush. Cheney consistently defended the extraordinary tools of surveillance, detention, and inquisition employed in response to the terrorist attacks of 11 September 2001. During his time in office, Cheney influenced policy on Iraq, anti-terrorism, presidential powers, energy, and other cornerstones of a conservative agenda. Following U.S. President Donald Trump's re-election, Cheney became one of his favorite targets after his daughter Liz Cheney became involved in probing the January 6 Capitol riots. In 2024, the Cheneys endorsed Democratic candidate Kamala Harris in her election campaign. Cheney lived with heart disease for decades and survived several heart attacks before receiving a heart transplant in 2012.
Peru has announced the severing of diplomatic ties with Mexico. It comes after former Peruvian Prime Minister Betsy Chavez, who is under investigation for rebellion, fled to the Mexican embassy in Peru to request asylum. The country's foreign minister said the government decided to cut ties as the Mexican government has been interfering in a, quote, inadmissible and systematic manner in Peru's internal affairs. In 2022, authorities accused Chavez of participating in a coup d'etat together with former President Pedro Castillo. Lima is seeking to sentence Chavez, who was Castillo's prime minister at the time, to up to 25 years in prison.